Os quiero presentar ahora a Reza Ghaem. Creo, I think I said.
Reza, it's perfect, thank you.
Es de la agencia Proximity Worldwide y su ponencia se llama Data Inspired Creativity, Myth or Reality.
Thank you. Thank you. So, very happy to be here today. I think we are quite a group, so maybe we'll have time to share some questions or have some opinions about this. I think there's been a lot of hype about data and creativity, and I think it's legitimate to understand how all the conversation about how data might actually kill creativity. And all of us in our daily lives, we experience those banners that are targeting, retargeting until we purchase. And even after this, they are still targeting us and retargeting. So the point is, yes, there is a risk about all the programmatic and how we use data in order to better target. But my whole point today is actually the opposite, is how can data inspire creativity. So I'm going to start with the most boring slide of the whole event, which is this one, and hopefully you can't even read it, but basically these are the 10 dimensions, which potentially include like 50 data points that we use at Proximity in order to have a conversation between our data planners and our creatives. So how can we find an insight within the existing data that is about the life cycle change within the customer life? What is a cultural event like Brexit? How does it inform our creative work? How can we understand that the relationship with the brand, the data we're going to get there, informs the data and the creativity? So I'm going to start with what this presentation is not about, and then we'll go through how data inspires creativity.
We know what you're going to eat tomorrow. For over 60 years, Germany's favorite fast food restaurant has seen millions of people passing through its doors every day. But all we knew was that they ate well, but not much about their dining behavior. Our challenge was to find ways to keep diners dining, get them in more often, and grow customer love again. Our vision was to create a more personal and innovative dining experience. But we had to get to know our guests quickly. So for the first time in McDonald's history, product packaging had codes that referenced the single products purchased. We announced competitions with great prizes. Diners received a promotion code with each product, which they then entered into their Mac VIP app to take part. Now we know what a guy like Gregor likes, and we have a profile of his individual behavioral data. Within 3 months, we identified around 2 million product purchases, 1 million purchase baskets, and over 400,000 customers. These individual profiles were matched against billions of transactions. We can now match up Gregor's behavior with all the smart data we've collected and determine that a lot of people like Gregor like the same as Gregor, but they also like, for example, McFlurry. So we can be sure that Gregor will also like McFlurry. Now we know what Gregor's going to eat next, and thanks to geofencing, we can send him an individualized offer when he is 100 meters away from one of his 10 closest restaurants. Customers soon returned to the stores, and conversion rates really took off. Wow, that was some successful strategy. In under a year, we helped McDonald's Germany transform its marketing into genuine data-driven, customer-centric communication, setting the course that other global McDonald's ECRM operations now follow. And that's just the beginning.
So the whole point, I think this is a brilliant campaign, don't get me wrong, I think it's really very, very smart into how you can actually generate data. But what I'm looking for is how actually data can generate insights and how actually we can inform creativity with data. So it's not always in our industry that we can quote Einstein, so I'm very proud for this. I don't know how many of you use Einstein quotes in your creative presentations, but yeah, everything that can be counted is not actually mattering. So let's look at what we mean for this. If you look, so McDonald's was about, how do we generate data? Burger King took it the opposite way. So you know the big difference between Burger King and McDonald's. Burger King flames the burger, the steak. So they went back in history, looking at their own data, in order to look that, over 60 times they had actually restaurants that went on fire, and used that historical data to create a brilliant campaign, which shows here that this restaurant actually went on fire in Pennsylvania in 2015. And they used that proprietary data in order to generate a campaign that truly talks about what is their point of difference, which is the flame grill. So proprietary data is the one we love to work on, and we love to generate, the right amount of data, because this is data that only us can use. We'll see other examples. So there is another very smart play on proprietary data from Spotify, and this is the next case we're going to look at.
A new ad campaign by Spotify is actually calling out some of its users and their song choices. Check out this billboard. This was at New York Sport Authority. Dear person who played Justin Bieber's Sorry 42 times on Valentine's Day, what did you do? And this ad to the 1,235 guys who loved the Girls Night playlist this year. We love you. The tag on the ads read, thanks 2016. It's been weird.
The company says the user data gives an insight into the emotion that people are expressing through music. Like, dear 3,749 people who streamed It's the End of the World as We Know It on the day of the Brexit vote, hang in there.
Magnificent use of proprietary data, but every company, every brand does not have that gold mine with them. So what we are pushing our data scientists, data planners, and our creatives to dig into is actually open data. And many governments, many companies are now populating data sets that are truly brought into their open data frameworks, and we can actually use this. In Japan, one of our agencies used the green lights and the red lights open data in Tokyo to create an app that would allow joggers to have routes only with green lights for Adidas. So how you use an open data set which is available, which is timing of red and green lights, in order to create something that truly embodies the brand of freedom of movement. Here, we used another source of open data for aspirin in the US.
Smith is the most common last name in the US. There's one Smith for every 130 Americans. There are approximately 4 Smiths on any given block in Manhattan, and on average, people have 3 friends named Smith on Facebook. There's something else that's common in the US, heart attacks. In fact, there's one every 42 seconds. But chewing aspirin during a suspected heart attack could help save a life. The hero Smith's theory. If every Smith carried aspirin, more lives could be saved from heart attacks. We set out to prove our theory by building a safety net of aspirin-carrying Smiths to make sure there's always aspirin around. But first, we had to arm them. Hero Smith kits transformed ordinary Smiths into Hero Smiths, providing the tools and information needed to carry aspirin and help save a life. At theherosmiths.com, Smiths could pledge to carry aspirin, order their own Hero Smiths kit, see how many people they could protect daily, and recruit their Smith friends. Then we went to a town with one of the highest heart attack rates in the country to arm every Smith with aspirin and see our theory in action. They became the voice of the brand in an online documentary series.
Just have it on you in case somebody needs it. You could save a life.
From there, people took it upon themselves to recruit more Smiths by tagging their friends, spreading the message on social media, and growing our network of aspirin-carrying Hero Smiths. And just like that, the most common name in America is becoming a badge of honor. Our campaign is helping make a 120-year-old brand relevant again. It's had a direct impact on communities. And Bear is already looking to recruit new heroes outside the US. Let's make saving lives something common.
So from green lights in Tokyo to understanding what are the most common names and how we can simply use that open data, I think there are so many new sets of open data brought in by governments and companies every day that that's absolutely a gold mine for inspiring creative work. The other case, you probably know it. I think it's a brilliant demonstration which doesn't use data in the storytelling, but in how the campaign was actually brought to life. So you probably know Ray. Ray is an outdoor manufacturer, outdoor equipment company. And basically they did something very bold. It started by their sales team to calculate what was the cost of closing one day. If they closed every Ray outdoor shop one day, what would be the cost? And it wasn't any day. And then they calculated, okay, if we close that day and we transform this into a big campaign, a story that could be told nationwide, how much free media should we generate to compensate? And then they did the math. And then I think one of the most interesting promotional campaigns was created.
In the news tonight, another Black Friday has arrived.
Retailers opening their doors early.
Chaos erupting when some try to cut down.
Locations will be closed on Black Friday.
And it won't be processing any sales online.
It will pay employees to take Black Friday off
to spend time outdoors.
This is my first Black Friday off in 27 years. Black Friday, we're closing all 143 of our stores.
campaign, using understanding the value of one day of business, Black Friday, modelize this into how much free media they should get in order to compensate, and then create a campaign that again truly speaks the brand in a very, very literal way. Get outside. I think the other data that is available at hand for us, at least in the agency community, it's the media data. How we can use what people tend to look at and where they should look at which moment, in order to inspire our creatives with a very relevant set of data. Here, Cadbury looked at the data we all have access to, which are the most viewed videos on YouTube, to create a very powerful story that speaks again about Cadbury's joy, which is, you know, their campaign ID for the last almost 20 years now, to create something very smart, very agile, and I think really spot on. Simple data, simple use of data in a very creative format, understanding, you know, what starts the story. Almost at the end, I think data visualization is another very interesting way for, I would say, more the design creative community in order to express and you know, find new insights in order to express a brilliant idea. I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but I think the campaign really speaks for itself. That's a beautiful design campaign for IKEA. think everybody wants to become a data visualizer usually after that case. I think it's absolutely brilliant how you can really modelize a simple piece of paper and bring a service to people with one sheet. Behavioral data is probably the most sophisticated source of data we use in agencies. The reason it's complex, it's a set of diverse sources of data that are aggregated in order to create either an algorithm or a new set of data. Here, the case I'm gonna use, we did it in Spain for Midas, the mechanics, and we used a very innovative behavioral data, which is lies. So we use actually a lie detector to generate a behavioral data that inspired a campaign and probably changed perception on a whole category.
Hello, I am the eye detect machine. I have no feelings. I do not show emotions. I solve problems. Midas had a problem. That's a lie, and I've proven it. Man can be fooled, but not me. I'm the world's best lie detector. Humans believe that they can see the truth by looking into a person's eyes. I analyze them. I detect even the tiniest variations in the pupil. I reveal the truth. That's why I have come to Europe. More than 100 Midas mechanics volunteered to take part. We selected 20. We asked them a series of questions, more than 300 each. And I analyzed the results. They were conclusive. The eyes don't lie. They all told the truth. All the test results are publicly available on the website. It was a success in the news.
Pero muy atrevidos también desde Midas porque han sido la primera empresa en toda Europa que ha sometido a sus empleados a esta prueba que es absolutamente pionera, que la usa incluso el FBI.
Many people asked us to test politicians, athletes. No one ever responded. The results were clear. And you're seeing the eyes that don't lie.
The last data set we're going to discuss is probably the newest one available to us in this industry, and probably the deepest and the widest we can use. So I'm personally amazed every day by a new startup that reaches to me and brings another way of building a social graph, better understanding, an audience, or mining content that is relevant to that audience, or mining the content that is relevant for the influencers who are targeting this audience. I think we are at the very, very early stage of understanding how everything we publicly or not publicly share on social media is actually researched and used in order to create more inspiring content or relevant content or better targeted. The campaign I'm going to show, we created it in Australia, which is one of the most competitive markets when it comes to FMCG and food. And how using social data we created quite a conversation.
Snickers launched an advertising campaign in Australia in partnership with 7-Eleven that changes the price of the candy bar based on the
mood of the internet. And when anger goes up, Snickers prices go down. Australia, get angry. Let's get those things down to 20 cents. Introducing the Hunger Alert, a hunger
algorithm that linked price to people's real-time moods. As anger went up, prices went down at every 7-Eleven in Australia. Built on a 3,000-word lexicon from MIT, the algorithm analyzed over 14,000 social posts a day to determine sentiment. It even understood sarcasm and slang, and not just any slang, Aussie slang. Prices updated 144 times a day, and users simply clicked Get a Snickers on the Algorithm mobile site to get a 7-Eleven barcode. No downloading apps or printing required. That would have just made them angrier. Each new price had a backstory, whether it was a politician saying something utterly stupid, people losing their minds over a show, or a country breaking up with the entire EU. As prices dropped, fans were alerted via reactive social content.
There has been considerable fluctuation.
Live in-store displays, and more. The algorithm turned the price of a candy bar into something people actually wanted to follow. Even Reddit liked it, and they hate everything. By changing its price over 5,000 times in 5 weeks, one of Australia's largest chocolate brands created a massive social media and PR spike. But one stat mattered most, a 67% sales increase. And for the first time, You're Not You When You're Hungry was linked to real-world movement and real-world sales. Snickers Hungry. The angrier the internet, the cheaper the Snickers.
So Snickers have been, building this whole campaign idea about you're not you when you're hungry. And when we look at Australia, you're angry when you're hungry, and let's look at the data, how we can actually moderate the price real time based on the real mood of the Australian people, thanks to social data mining. I think this opens a lot of inspirations for ourselves as strategists and for our creatives. That was the different kinds of data that we are using on a daily basis, from looking at what is unique in our clients' data set in terms of proprietary data that we can leverage. How can we use open data sources? How data visualization, social media data, or simply media data can give us a silver bullet in order to change the insight and bring something that truly resonates to people. Because at the end, data is really one of the factors that makes us, more relevant and more personalized when we engage with this audience. At BBDO, we have David Lubars as a global creative lead, and he often talks about data with a very great quote, which is, when I walk into the room without data, I'm just another guy with an opinion. And in the creative process, we know how people are actually having opinions. I like it, I don't like it, yeah, but bigger, make it smaller, blue, etc. With data, we give to our creatives something that really truly sets them apart from simply having an opinion, and our clients as well. Thank you very much.